My only experience with the Planet of the Apes franchise was the latest trilogy, so I was shocked to find out there was 6 more movies. So today we'll be looking at the 5 original movies, the 2001 reboot, and the newest quadrilogy. I had no idea how this movie would play out, but it left me pretty fulfilled. Having it be set on a different planet was a fun idea, as we watch our human character try to figure out what's going on. I was prepared to follow all 3 of these astronauts that crashed here, so I was shocked to see that one died and the other was left brain dead. But Taylor is a really captivating character to me. He originally left Earth because he wasn't a fan of the other people, but by the end, he finds someone he'd like to keep around. But the main premise is about the ape society, which I was really interested in. Humans are considered animals, and they're all mute and feral. Everyone except Taylor, of course, who shows the apes that there's more to man. There's also another layer of discovering that men were actually around before the apes, which twists our real-world knowledge of people coming from apes. I just really like how the roles are reversed. I wasn't a fan of the ape characters, however. This couple are really fascinated by Taylor, so they want to save him from being experimented on, but they raise their voice a little too loud, so now they're sentenced to jail. They run away with Taylor and his girlfriend, but still end up staying with the evil monkey. None of them really left an impact on me, and besides, they don't really feel like apes. They do everything people normally do, except there's a few ooh, ooh, ah, thrown in there. There's also a lot of scenes that take so long to get to the point, like how long does the scene of humans getting captured take? Still going? Almost done? Wow. Nothing really happens in this movie until the very end. We spend an hour in the ape village, with everyone just looking for Taylor. I just found myself getting bored of this chunk, but the ending made it worth it. Before the astronaut ship sunk, Taylor spots the gauge that tells him what year it is on Earth. They've been gone from the planet for almost 3,000 years, but haven't aged that much. Taylor keeps telling Landon that everything he loves is gone, and really drives home that point. Over the course of the movie, there's been a few hints that this may be Earth, and Taylor's worldview is crushed when he sees the Statue of Liberty on a beach. This is such a chilling scene to end the movie on, and wrapped up a pretty underwhelming movie. I could use some more monkeys though. This is the biggest 180 I've ever seen in a movie. I really didn't like this movie very much. We follow another astronaut who was sent on a rescue mission to save Taylor. His name is Brent. Him and Nova are caught in the middle of a war between the apes and more humans who have telepathic powers and live in the ruins of New York City. What? But then it's revealed that they have a doomsday bomb and intend on blowing everything up. Then these people take their flesh masks off. This is more weird than the talking monkeys, and they aren't even in this movie that much. Taylor, our protagonist from the last movie, gone until the last 15 minutes when he's found by Brent. Cornelius and Zura, barely in the movie. It's just a really strange movie. It is really cool seeing old human civilization taken over by nature. That's probably my favorite part of these movies so far. And the movie just abruptly ends with the dying Taylor pressing a button which sets off the nuke and presumably kills everyone on Earth. In a movie about a planet of apes, having the focus be more on these X-Men is disappointing to me. I would have loved to see more of, you know, the apes, or Taylor exploring this old new world. But we are stuck with Brent, who isn't terrible as a hero, but just seems like a carbon copy of Taylor.
Taylor?
They even have similar stories. Both crash on the planet, friends die, they vibe with Nova, talk to monkeys, and find out the world is Earth. This movie was just too balls to the wall for me, but I will say I was never bored. After how interesting the last movie was, I expected this one to be on the same level, but this is a lot better. This time the apes are the focus, which they should have been the last time. We follow our favorite Cornelius and Zura as they show up in a spacecraft, but wait a minute, they're still on Earth. And wait a minute, these humans can talk and shit. And who the hell is that? Well, these 3 traveled back in time from the future, just like Taylor and Brent did. I bet you didn't expect time travel to be the most important part of this franchise so far. They left their future at the same time as Taylor blew up the whole Earth. Thanks for the confirmation, movie. Also, why does everyone keep laying one on Zura? We get a parallel of the first movie as we watch the married couple explore human society, which is pretty cute. But you're probably remembering that there was a third ape. Well, he got killed in the first 15 minutes by a regular gorilla. What was the point of him? He wasn't in the last 2 movies, and he barely did anything here, so why didn't they just scrap him? Weird characters aside, I was really interested to see where this plot went. As soon as they had shown themselves to humans, people loved them, and they're quickly welcomed by society. They just kind of vibe until the conflict starts. See, Zura let her mouth slip, and she tells a bunch of government people that the Earth was destroyed in the future. So of course, humans believe that the apes are the cause. But this creates an interesting scenario. This guy, who I think is the president? I can't really remember, believes that they can't really do anything. The Earth was destroyed in the year 3955, so they physically can't really do anything. But of course, the villain really wants to kill the apes, so he shoots Zura and her baby. What the hell? Cornelius gets his revenge for his wife, but just for funsies, he's shot as well. In Zura's last moments, she throws her baby into the water and dies with her husband. This was actually really sad, but it gets sadder. The baby is still alive, and the movie ends with it crying for its mum. Mama, mama, mama. Okay. There was also a lot of lore for the future world. The whole ape uprising began when a captured ape stood up to his captor and said no. How brave. I'm glad this was just a better overall movie, and I'm excited to see the next one.
You saved me. Why? Monkey.
Conquest is another pretty solid entry in the series. Who would have thought? This movie takes place 20 years after the events of the last one, and we now follow Zura's baby, who is definitely not a baby anymore. Caesar's his name. He's acted by Rhodey McDowall, who also played Cornelius in the last movies. He provides a pretty good performance in the past 3 movies, and this is hands down the best he's done so far. He brings so much passion to Caesar, and he really needed to, as this movie shows us the first ape uprising. What's cool is that Cornelius told us this story last movie, so it's nice how closely they stuck with that. All the dogs and cats died. Apes were brought in as pets, then promoted to slaves. Then Caesar came along and led them against the filthy humans. Everything's here except the big no moment, which is disappointing as it should be a really powerful moment. It's meant to symbolize that apes are more human than actual humans think, but that just isn't there. And they foreshadow it pretty hard here with all the humans saying no all the time.
No, Zelda, no! Home, Zelda.
There's this lady ape who says it, but
no!
Is that it? Once again, I was fascinated to see how the apes were being treated here. The movie shows apes getting brought in, and then assigned a job, then getting conditioned to that job. It's just really good world building, I think. But the human characters themselves aren't too memorable. Armadillo is cool, and this guy who gives Caesar pity, and the main villain who I can't remember the name of. Yeah, they're just boring. It's also really clever how Caesar's role comes into play. In the first movie, the apes have already been in control for generations and worshipped the first ape to rise up. Then we see it happen because of time travel shenanigans. Zura and Cornelius came from the future and had Caesar in the past, so now they're in this loop. That's just cool! There is some weird pacing and editing in this movie, with lots of jump cuts and confusing events. Like, we get this really emotional scene of Caesar finding out that his human dad died, so he goes outside to cry, but he can't wail and grieve properly because he's not meant to speak. You see his rage building, then you see him come up with a plan. That's just a great scene I wanted to highlight. But it leads to a cut right after to the next day, and all of a sudden, all the slave apes know to rebel against their masters with one look from Caesar, and now they have this lair to come up with schemes? I feel like we just missed a few scenes. Other than that, I really enjoyed this one. I really expected these movies to get worse over time, which it almost did. But there's one more movie to look at in this saga. The final outing in this, what do you call a 5-movie series? Oh, pentology, okay. Battle for the Planet of the Apes is a little bit of a step down from the last movie, but still pretty enjoyable. We are still with Caesar, 10-ish years after the last movie, where he's built a community with apes and humans. Notice how I didn't say peaceful. Yeah, the humans are slaves here, which kind of goes against Caesar's dream of a world with peace between the two, but I guess it's a start. This guy's back, and I actually know his name now, MacDonald. Since he helped Caesar in Conquest, he's not really a slave, but still kind of is. It's weird, because the two seem chill with each other, but MacDonald makes it clear that he wants his freedom. A gorilla named Aldo fucking hates humans, and is itching to kill them, which obviously goes against Caesar's whole thing, so boom! Conflict. This was a neat idea to explore, as there would be that residual hatred, but I don't think there was enough time dedicated to it. All we get is, I hate humans, but I hate killing humans. and that's about it. Show us what the other apes think, or just have the whole movie about it. Yeah, there's another group of humans who wage war on the apes for bombing their city. It's a fair reason, actually. Wait, so you're telling me that the apes gained control over nuclear bombs and blew this city to high heaven? Yeah, right. These humans are meant to be disfigured and or mutated by radiation, but all they have is just some gunk on their face. They want to kill the apes after seeing them in their city, looking for a tape of Zora and Cornelius because Caesar just wanted to see them. A bit of suspicion and assumptions later, and now they're fighting. Holy shit! Oh my god! Whoa! Caesar leads the apes well enough to conquer the humans and kills Aldo for killing his son. Oh yeah, Caesar has a son, also named Cornelius. Kind of messed up, but we see that Caesar's efforts paid off as a flash forward shows apes and humans living together in harmony. That was a pretty good ending to a surprisingly good pentology. Like I said before, I thought these movies were gonna get bad. They aren't the best movies out there, but they're serviceable. It's really interesting how they had one big connecting story spanning over this long timeline, and that time travel is such a massive element. And I think people should give these movies a look. I think the only way to ruin it will be to make a reboot about it. Me and my big mouth. This was, interesting? Instead of being a one-to-one remake of the 1968 movie, Planet of the Apes 2001 takes some things from that movie and morphs it to tell a somewhat different story. We still have a spaceman crashing onto a planet with apes being the dominant species, but that's really all that was taken. Our new main character is Leo, and he's played by Mark Wahlberg, which kind of surprised me. Whoa, it's Mark Wahlberg. He has to lead the humans against this cartoonishly evil villain, General Thad. I'm trembling. A problem I have with the humans is that they aren't really acting as the animals they're described as. First off, they aren't mute, so they're just yapping the whole time, and they aren't really that animalistic. What made the first movie so interesting was finding out how apes and humans practically swap places on the food chain. And it made Taylor seem like a god figure, where here it just seems like there's less of a divide and Leo just looks like one of the guys. Can I just say how ugly the apes look in this movie? They were alright looking in the other ones, but here I'm just freaked out. I also think having the apes live in the jungle is so lame. It's just so predictable. Stereotypical? Boring? I don't know. A change I do kind of like is that the ape tropes are played up a little more, as I think that was lacking in the other movies. But all the heavy breathing and growling is a little far. This movie also sticks with the time travel stuff, as Leo is also sent 2,000 years in the future, but he isn't on Earth. He's actually on a different planet, which I thought was a little lame since we won't have one of those cool reveals, but we got something different. First off, Leo's space station went to find him, but since he was sent to the future, they only found a deserted planet. The human and apes that we see in this movie came from the residents on the spaceship, as well as the apes that were on there. That was a nice change to the formula. And finally, Leo actually makes it off the planet and back to his present day, but something's not right. All the people are apes now, and that is Abraham Lincoln. This was a sick reveal, and it was kind of a reverse to the first movie's cool ending. You can tell this was building up to a sequel, but it never got one. And I'm a little disappointed we never got to see where this goes. There are some fun moments like, holy shit, it's a monkey fight! But nothing else really made this movie all too special. None of the characters are all that great, like Leo doesn't even have a character arc, and the apes are all just boring. Alright, let's talk about the good ones now. This movie's fire! Everything from the movies before, throw it out the window, because we have a brand new story. We follow Caesar, again, but this one isn't born from time-traveling apes. His mother, who they call Bright Eyes, which is a reference to Zora calling Taylor that, is given a virus which makes her extremely intelligent. The man behind this virus is Will, played by James Franco, who created this virus to cure his dad's dementia. Can I just say, this character is so tragic. First, he started getting Alzheimer's, which is already hard to deal with. Then it gets cured, only for the Alzheimer's to come back again. Poor guy. Will then later adopts Bright Eyes' baby, who also has that smart juice in its genes. What happened to Bright Eyes herself? The bond Caesar and Will have is so cute, and as Caesar grows older, he starts wearing human clothes. Shit starts hitting the fan when Will's dad is pointed out aggressively, and Caesar bites the guy's finger off. He's then sent to an ape sanctuary, where he spends the rest of the movie. I like this because it makes the movie feel like a prison escape film. Here, Caesar has to deal with stupid apes and Draco Malfoy. Because Caesar is so damn smart, we watch as he starts to come up with a plan to escape this hell with the rest of his people and be free. The other apes who he befriends are pretty great if you ask me. First is Buck, a gorilla who just wants to play. Then there's Maurice, who is a top G. And there's Rocket, who starts out as a dick but comes around by the end. Look at this squad, man. Put them in Fortnite. There's also an ape at the place Will did all his experiments, named Cobra. He'll be important for the next movie. All the apes eventually escapes after Caesar gives them all yummy smart juice. And they're free to climb and throw poop till their heart's content. I really enjoy this plot, and it does a good job keeping my engagement for the whole runtime. There are other non-ape characters who don't take up too much runtime, but just enough where you can care about them. Obviously, Will is the main human, and I also feel bad for him. He's slowly losing his dad, and when he goes to take Caesar home, he just refuses to go as he doesn't want to be a pet anymore. Caesar is just a fantastic protagonist. He's very compassionate, he's clever, and must have a pretty high pickpocket stat. It's a little sad seeing Caesar realize his situation as he ages, but that's the curse of intelligence, I suppose. I always have so much praise for movies that have really expressive characters without dialogue. It always impresses me, but when they do have dialogue, shit goes crazy, like the no moment.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
No! That's chilling. The only negative I have with the movie is that they always try to have these human characters who never really feel important to the story. As soon as Caesar goes to that monkey prison, Will just becomes an afterthought. He is better than Taylor and McDonald, but this is definitely a series where the humans have to be side characters. Like, I love what they did with the humans in the first Planet of the Apes movie, so I hope they do something like that going forward. So now that the apes are intelligent, surely they can coexist with humans, right? Right? No. You know what's weird? I originally thought I've never seen this You know what's weird? I originally thought I've never seen this movie before, but I have, and I just forgot about it. And it's a good movie, so I don't know what's going on. Good characters, a solid premise, and a good villain, I think. Set around 10 years after the events of the last movie, Caesar has built himself a little community and got laid. Hey, my man. The usual squad is also here, except Buck, obviously. RIP. They make an uneasy alliance with some humans, as they need this dam to get power for their city. That's pretty much the main plot, until Cobra freaking ruins their truce by shooting Caesar and blaming it on the humans, which in turn starts some war. It sounds kind of basic, but they do a really good job setting up the apes' suspicion of the humans. That's why I think Cobra works really well as a villain. He had plenty of setup to why he hates humans so much in the last movie, and in this one. And now he wants to kill the humans. As you do. Caesar says no, as he's open to the idea of trusting humans, which shows how both of them are two sides of the same coin. Cobra's whole life has been full of torture and experiments, while Caesar's was more loving, so now their views on people are completely different. This is just great stuff. Then Cobra uses the ape's suspicions of humans to manipulate them into going to war. Oh, but then he dies. The world is also starting to go to shit, but they're not completely there yet. Most humans have been wiped out by a disease called the simian flu, which was shown in the last movie, when a scientist got a dose of that smart gas. I really like the ape civil war idea that they presented here, as it was developed nicely, but I do not like this guy. Bro was just itching to shoot these monkeys, even after they say they don't want to fight, and have not been threatening at all. We go back to Will's house for a little bit, which is cozy, but I think he died off screen, which is not good. I wish we got a little more of Maurice, because bro's a day oneer, and his voice is terrifying. Caesar still continues to gain more development and be the best character in these movies. He believes that ape society can rise above and be better than humans, but Cobra shows him that they are more similar than he thinks. He learns that it's not as easy as saying apes good, humans bad. Both can be bad and good. He comes to this revelation a little too late, however, as Cobra's actions have already done too much damage. Caesar's aware that there's no stopping a war between the two species, so the ending's a little bittersweet. Yeah, Cobra's dead, but it's gonna get a lot worse for the apes. Such a good movie, man. If it seems like I don't have anything bad to say, well, I don't. I guess the humans are still whatever. At least they're a little bit more involved in the plot. But I'm here for the monkeys, damn it! The final movie in Caesar's story, and they went out with a bang. Literally. I think this movie is very well made. It's got excellent performances, great effects, and well put together music, but I can't help but feel like this one was a little boring. It's pretty much a revenge story, with Caesar wanting to kill Woody Harrelson for murdering his wife and his son, but That's really it. The whole conflict is just humans bad, which is a complete 180 from the last movie. As in that, it seemed like both sides were good, but it was their fears which created conflict. This guy just wants to kill people and the apes. Yeah, I know he's trying to stop the newly evolved simian flu, but he's still just executing people. So yes, the simian flu has wiped out most of the humans, and somehow it's evolved, so now humans who catch it regress mentally. For example, they lose their speech. Now this is a cool idea because it's kind of like the humans in the first Planet of the Apes movie. But why did it have to be the same flu? How after 15 years can it all of a sudden do this? If it was a different virus that was intended to regress the apes back to their old selves, but works on humans too, that would have been a lot cooler and created more tension for both species. Other than that, the movie just lacks the world building that we got from the rest of the movies. It's kind of cool that the apes that worked with the humans were followers of Cobra that ran to them because they were scared of Caesar. This, coupled with the nightmares Caesar has, shows that the damage Cobra did really plagues everyone, even 5 years after he died. There's a few other callback and references to the old movies, with a little girl infected with the Shut Up virus, being named Nova. Hey, I know her! Caesar's second son, who survived by the way, is named Cornelius. And I think it's cute here that Caesar is Cornelius's father, but before, Caesar was Cornelius's son. The main apes we follow are the squad, hell yeah! Caesar, Maurice, Rocket, and Luca, who was a different gorilla, Rip Buck. Oh, and also Rip Luca. These gorillas, man. We also get a new character named Bad Ape. It was kind of pointless. He points the group in the direction of the camp, then says funny words.
Okay.
That's it. He's probably meant to be some comedy relief, as this movie is very tonally dark, but it doesn't really work for me. We return to the prison escape idea, as all the apes need to flee before more human fighting begins. Their plan goes almost flawlessly, and I like how we get some more spotlight on their intelligence. The apes make it to a new place to call home, somewhere far away from humans, and with this knowledge, Caesar decides now's a great time to die, which he does, with the homeboy Maurice by his side. Caesar's a fantastic character, who I got really attached to. We've been with him through the highs and the lows, and this is a perfect place for his character to come to an end. Hey, he meets another gorilla. Oh no! I'm really interested to see where this story goes without his leadership, but we'll probably have to wait a while for the next movie. Spoilers, by the way. Well, that didn't take long. Kingdom moves away from Caesar's story and explores the world a couple hundred years after the last movie. Caesar's influence is still littered all over the place, and he's considered a godlike figure. There's even a little scene at the start of the movie as Maurice gives Caesar a burial. This movie is much smaller in scale, as we aren't fighting for all of Apes' freedom anymore. We have new characters, obviously. It would be strange if a character like Maurice would have survived a few odd centuries. Our new protagonist is Noah, who has to save his Eagle clan after they were taken. Along the way, he meets Rocker, who is so close to Maurice's best friend status, until he dies. The two pick up May along the way, who is a human character. She wants to find her people, who were also taken. She sounds nice enough, but she actually uses Noah for the whole movie, so she can grab this computer disk from a government vault to take back to her human comrades. She almost kills Noah's clan, and at the end when she says goodbye to Noah, she's about to shoot him, but he unknowingly convinces her not to. The villain of the movie is meant to be Proximus Caesar, but honestly, May seems more like the villain, which I'm not upset about. He's also trying to get in the same vault so he can get all the weapons. This may seem like a typical bad guy plot, but he's doing it so humans won't get them and rise up again. Very Cobra-like. This is what I like! Rocco was able to teach Noah the story of Caesar as the Eagle clan had no knowledge of him. His messages of apes together strong and coexisting with humans has been tainted over the years. I love all the world building we've been getting. The world's properly gone to shit, and there's still humans unaffected by the simian flu. Humans have returned to their rightful place as animals, basically. Except the few we still see talking. The movie uses the humans well, I think. There's only one important human who actually has something to do. Yeah, the power struggle between the humans and the apes is still raging on. Even after Proximus's defeat, Noah agrees with his point of view after seeing what May is capable of. He distrusts humans, but also believes in Caesar's dreams of the two coexisting. It's a complicated ending. I don't really care for the other apes in this movie, other than Rocker. I like him. Oh, there's a gorilla. I'm sure he'll live a long and happy life. They kill another gorilla. This has to be on purpose. The pacing is kind of shit in this movie as well. It feels like it's dragging its feet a little bit. Since this movie is the closest to the very first movie, there's a few references. The doll from this scene shows up, making the same sound. They use some music from that movie in a scene, and there's a whole ass human rounding up scene. To sum it up, I think this movie is a good watch, but isn't perfect by any means. I like how they kind of twist May into being the villain, and the world is very cool looking. There's just a few things I'm not a fan of, and that's every movie in this franchise. This whole series, I think, is very underrated. Obviously, lots of people have seen the most recent 4 movies, but I think the early ones are still a good watch. Except you, Beneath. Go watch them yourself, and I'm gonna head off.